Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome into your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, as we are joining you this week from the Muskogee Media Newsroom as we get ready for today's National Council Seat B elections. We've got a lot of exciting things to tell you about, but off the jump, I want to share some exciting news with you folks here. I am joined in studio, of course, with Mr. Kevin Barnett. He is our newest member of Muskogee Media, proudly representing Native News Today here on set today. And Kevin comes to us, we're so fortunate to have him. Kevin comes to us from the prestigious multimedia production program over at Oral Roberts University. And we're just so thankful to have you, Kevin, first of all. And you're going to be doing some reporting for the Muskogee Nation News.
Yeah.
Also doing a little help with us with Native News Today. So we're very glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of the team.
Yeah, and you've done a great job so far. He's kind of went out and kind of got his feet wet with us and went on a few stories and actually wrote a great piece in the Muskogee Nation News. So he's hit the ground running here. And Kevin will actually be a big part of this Saturday, today actually, later today, as we start our live stream of the National Council elections. Now you're going to be able to come on with us, MuskogeeMedia.com. You're going to get real-time updates as the election comes in. We will have the results for you there as they come in, but we're going to be coming to you at 5:30 p.m. later today. So you definitely want to check it out and join us on MuskogeeMedia.com for the live stream, and we're going to have a little bit more on that later on. But Kevin is going to be part of the live stream. We're going to have other people on there as well from Muskogee Nation News, Muskogee Media, lots of things to cover as that day unfolds. But like I said, we're just so glad to have you here, and you're now known as Kevin Barnett. You're out of the shadow of the great Paul Barnett. From Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, older brother. Paul watches us every week. Want to say hi to him and thank him for that. And make sure that he keeps Broken Arrow strong, keeps Broken Arrow Muskogee Creek, and watching Native News Today. So, Kevin, again, thanks for being with us. He's going to be with us the whole time. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Native News Today.
I was having a real hard time and a lot of stress in my family. I felt like I didn't want to live anymore, like I couldn't take it anymore. I went to a psychiatric hospital for a few days, gathered my thoughts, and got some medication for my depression and anxiety. I started going to behavioral health for counseling, learned better ways to communicate and talk to my family, and healthy ways to cope with my feelings. If I hadn't got any help, I might not be here now.
I know when you know someone who is struggling that they may think there is no one to listen. I lost my son, Tyler, to suicide. Don't wait to ask the question. Be direct. Ask your loved one, are you thinking of taking your life? Ask before it's too late.
And welcome back to the program. Jason Salzman, along with our newest edition of Muskogee Media, Kevin Barnett. And Kevin, you know, you've come to us here at Muskogee Media at an unbelievable time, talking about jumping in to the frying pan, coming along at election times. What's it been for you? What's it been like for you to come in at a time where we're about to have these national council elections?
You know, Jason, it's a lot to take in. There's a lot going on, a lot of things that, you know, as a citizen, I've never really given it much thought. And just to actually hear some of the candidates talk about the issues and where they stand, and You know what? I'm really excited. To find out where it goes and the direction that these new candidates are going to take our tribe.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we have some of those thoughts from the candidates that you speak of. Our last selection, our last installment of the candidate profiles comes to you now from our candidates of the National Council in the McIntosh District.
Should the Muskogee Creek Nation reduce the blood quantum required to hold public office? No, not at this time.
I don't agree with lowering the blood quantum and requirements to hold public office. When the blood quantum is reduced, then it seems to be that more or less, and I'm going to say more, that those that are of large amounts, or should I say that have a lot of blood quantum in them already, they will lose eventually the tribe in its government, because then the more you are of something is what defines of who you are. And the less you are, it doesn't define that either, other than, again, I've seen other tribes have reduced the blood quantum. Can we do this again?
Oh, you gotta just keep going.
Okay.
You're
Okay. In other words, I'm not for lowering the blood quantum because, again, we are in control. Those are people that are more Creek should be in control of their tribe. They know, again, as well as the history of it, and their people are the ones, again, would want to reduce it, because if we do, then we're going to just be put into the old melting pot as society itself and not have any identity. And identity is important. It really is important, of who we are and what we are. And this also, again, if we keep lowering it and lowering it and lowering, well, the federal government also will one day is going to say and define it for us what is an Indian and what is not. And that's going to hurt our tribal members and our tribe a great deal, and it will if it does. So I'm not for reducing blood quantum in public office.
On this topic, I believe that this should be the vote of the people and not brought before the council, but actually the vote of the people.
That's something I'm totally not for. Same-sex marriage, absolutely not. It's part of my religious belief, and again, I'm just not for it. Absolutely not for it. Totally against it, and there's nothing that will convince me, that same-sex marriage is good. There isn't.
On per capita payments, I believe that at this time I would support it, but economically for the tribe, as many citizens we have in our population of 82,000 or more, that we can't afford to do that right now.
It would be nice, if we could, if the Creek Nation had the funds to be able to give per cap payments, but our tribe is too large to be able to do that. If the tribe had made adequate money where they could possibly do that, I'd say let's do it. But again, our tribe has grown tremendously that now we don't even have the money to be able to take care of the people who we have already. And so again, there would nothing be more I would love to do in order to have per cap payments, but again, we just don't have the money. And it would be nice if the tribe too would look in the area as well as the growth, because years ago on the old council that I was on, we thought about 10, 15, 20 years ahead of the growth of the tribe. We also knew that the tribe, as it was growing, we were going to need more and more money to be able, funds and more money to be able to take care of our people. And so more or less what has happened is that the explosion of the tribal's membership has outdated, whatever you might say, the funds that we have in order to take care of our people. So again, per capita, I like that if we could, but the tribe just doesn't. But it does. It'd be nice if it could do that. But so again, two is that the money that the tribes we need is not enough to be able to do that. But if we could, I guarantee you, it would be great to do that to help our citizens.
How do you plan to communicate with the constituents? You will social media, press, or community meetings? Actually, in all citizens will use the social media, press, and the community meetings to visit with the citizens.
Communicate with constituents. I like this. I like what social media is doing. I like what they're doing now to be involved, to be able to get the word out there of the candidates, who's running, what they mean, what they stand for. The press, I'm going to utilize that too as much as I possibly can in the community meetings. Anywhere that Indian Creek Indian people are at, to get them to understand and to awareness of what candidates, of what we're standing for, what we were trying to do, as well as the thing that I hopefully that they do is look back and see, you know, those that are in there, what they promised 2 and 4 years ago, that if they're doing that, or if they've done that, or if they accomplished those goals. But again, the way that I plan on communicating with people is through social media, the press, and again, the community meetings, and telephone, calling them up, through other people that want to be able to be involved with me to help other people. But again, I like these ideals, and especially today, I like them even better of the social media.
I'm a registered Democrat. I believe in hard work.
My affiliation in political parties on the federal and local elections, I'm a Democrat. I believe, again, the Democrat ways is sharing, helping people, being involved, you know, to be able to do what possibly needs to be done in creating jobs, social programs, helping people who are down on their luck, people who are needing help. For instance, over the years, Eufaula Indian community, which I'm a member of, and under my leadership back in the late 80s, early 90s, we had over 100 employees in Eufaula Indian community. We've made millions of dollars from the Eufaula Indian community. And later on, right now, we've also are in a process of growing. Right now in Eufaula, we've done some what you would call these things that will tell us what business we need to get into and how many people they'll employ and what it's going to cost. Feasibility studies, that's the word I'm looking for. But again, too, the Democrats, to me, have always been the ones that share and care about other people. And this is what I've always felt. I've always thinking, too, again, that our children, our old people, we that can work, well, we should be able to work. But those people that are young, who are old, we need to take care of these folks. We really do. They need our help, especially our children, in education and guidance. We want them to be successful, as well as good leaders and great leaders and role models for our young people and for the future. Our elder ones right now, you know, they're needing help. Some of them can't retire until they're 70 years old. But only that is when sometimes when they don't have a job, they suffer because, again, they don't have enough money to make it. But we, as a tribe, we have sovereignty, and we need to utilize that sovereignty. We need also to be affiliated with parties that are going to help advance, that are going to help our people, and we and vice versa can help their people. Because these things I've seen work in the past and also utilized them. For instance, Eufaula, in the municipality and the county, we kind of work together, as well as with the tribe. We try to work together in order to accomplish goals that everybody's going to be able to benefit from these things. And I'm that kind of person, always been that kind of person. One of the things my dad had always taught me, he said, when people need help, he said, help them. He said, because that's what they're asking, that's what they're needing. And I've always been that way. His philosophy of always trying to help people Well, I'm still yet the same way. And again, the political party, like I said, the Democrats, they do more for people and helping people, and they'll continue to do that.
There you have it, our Macintosh candidate profiles, and we want to say that it's really been a pleasure for us at Native News Today to share all these candidate profiles with you. We want to thank the audience out there for sort of bearing with us. It hasn't been the normal Native News Today slate for the last few weeks, but we wanted to get those candidate profiles out there, make sure that all the candidates were heard on some pertinent issues that mean a lot to the citizens, and I think we've done that. And you can still see all of those on the YouTube channel as you have a little bit more time and as you go out to the polls today to make your choices. And Kevin, did you get a chance to see some of the complex since you've been here?
I did. I have. I've been walking around around lunchtime. I go around, take some pictures, and try to meet as many people as I can.
Yeah, and there's so much to the complex here that it seems like we grow by the week almost. You might see a new building go up. Some of the things have been restoration. That's what happened with the Mound Building. A lot of restoration over there, just completely finished. And if you get a chance, go over and check out the new Mound Building.
It began back in December 2015. Before that, we were developing plans for that I think it was about a year before that. The original plans kind of varied. It called for a skylight in certain areas, but that the plans seemed to change as we progressed into this program or this project. There were no set of site plans for this area. So all the utilities that ran underground, well, we found them during the construction phase. So when there was a lot of infrastructure that needed to be done. The sewer lines need to be rerouted, electrical lines need to be rerouted, water lines. Those all had to be done to attain what you see out here. We did most of that in-house. A lot of the surveying came from our department. The engineering, the initial engineering came from our department. The design, in fact, comes from the Mound Oversight Committee. The Mound has an oversight committee which consists of various legislative and judicial members for this building. They have a lot of input on how this project was to be completed. Right now we're working with an architectural firm out of Oklahoma City that working in conjunction with the Mound Oversight Committee, they will put together a plan, and until that plan is solid, then we really don't have an end date for the completion of the interior. Well, the first thing that you can see here is the stone. This is all natural thin stone from a pit out of Heavener, Oklahoma. The design came from the previous administration, previous tribal construction administration that was here before, and the trellis was added after we started talking to the new architectural firm. So those design elements came from them and approved through the Mound Oversight Committee. The openings on the north and south end wasn't in the original design. That portion or that element really came from one of our elders. You know, we take what is told to us, and we kind of try to help. Well, let me say, we try to incorporate everybody's input. That includes the clan symbols that you see around the top of the parapet wall. The number of clans different from the college because there were some clans that were left out in that design. So what we did was we put that decision into the hands of the traditional leaders to come up with a list of currently up-to-date clans that are still being used today. And this is the number of clans that we have here is what they came back to us with.
And as you see there, lots of great things happening around here. Renovation, restoration to the Mound Building. Also, restoration going on down at the Council House. So we'll keep an eye on that. I know that we'll follow the developments as they happen there, as a lot of people are keeping an eye on the Council House to see it be restored. But Kevin, you know, just from the time that you've been here and we've had a chance to talk to one another, I know that you've been ingrained in Muskogee Creek culture from a young age, but I know one of the most important things is our stomp dances. And I know that you've been exposed to that as well.
Yeah. I wasn't really raised in the stomp grounds, but you know, after being gone for a lot of years, you know, I mean, I felt I was missing a piece of myself, and that piece comes from knowing your culture, and I think that's where my interest comes from.
Yeah, and you know, when you go out to the stomp grounds, there's certain things you're going to see, the ball games, for sure. A lot of people get hyped up about that, but really the tradition, the fire, everything, and the beautiful skirts. And we have a young Muskogee Creek woman, Miss Audrey Hill, that makes these skirts, and she shared with us her process.
My passion is designing skirts for our ceremonial dances. I do make new skirts every weekend for my daughter and I. It all started when I basically had her. What I had to do is basically teach myself how to sew. Basically starting from the bottom, working my way up to the top. I would basically buy material, get patterns, and basically start from scratch on trying to make skirts. When I did first start, my skirts were coming out uneven, ribbon wasn't lining up, and I mean, basically that was my motivation to keep doing it, keep trying, and basically work my way up and getting better in sewing. My Aunt Irene was one of the few people that did make all my skirts before I started learning how to sew. And then over time, I had to teach myself if I wanted a skirt for every weekend. With that, I just basically worked my way up, and now it's to where I make skirts every weekend. So majority of the time, they're basic ribbon skirts. If not, I do make patchwork. I do take my time in what I do. It's something that is a passion that I love to do. It's not just, you know, a hobby. It's something that, you know, I take time in doing. I do sketch out my designs beforehand, and then I go buy the material. Buy a material, it takes an hour to 2 hours basically comparing colors, the color scheme, and getting the design that I like out of it. And then basically going from there, getting prepared to sewing the patterns together. If not doing that, then your basic ribbon. When I start making a skirt, a lot of times I'll sketch out the pattern on a scrap piece of paper that I have, and basically with colored pencils, and what I'll do is basically compare the colors of what I want. I normally go with bright colors, something that stands out, something that's going to catch the eye. I try not to be dull. I'm someone that I really care about how I represent myself and carry myself and how I look, especially when it comes to my daughter. So I gotta, you know, try to basically come up with something that will look good on both of us, something that she'll like as well. Sometimes we go into characters like Ninja Turtles. One year we did at the Creek Festival. It was something she was real excited about. With the Ninja Turtles being red, blue, orange, and purple. The main color that stood out more to us was the red. So with hers, I did the purple and mine was the red. We mixed matched colors to make the color scheme stand out more. With hers, she coordinated. She had a hair bow that matched her purple. With that, I did like a layout of the Ninja Turtles, and I didn't want it to blend in. So basically what I did is put Patrick at the bottom of the skirt with the ruffle to make it stand out more. When preparing a skirt, people are like, you put a lot of thought into this, it's not that hard. I, want it to be different. I want it to turn heads. I want people to like my work and be like, she put a lot of thought and effort into making that skirt instead of just throwing something together, being basic and simple. Designing is something that I've always loved doing. I've always had ideas in my head. It's just like bottled up. I did want to go to school for interior design and cosmetology and things like that. Many different things. Designing is one of them. I don't only make skirts, I make vests and shirts as well. Another thing I do for my kids is I make their Halloween outfits, birthday outfits. I try to do it all. It does take practice and time. I have to get in my zone for when I do make things like that. Designing is something that I love. It's my passion.
And that'll wrap us up for another episode of Native News Today, a election edition of Native News Today. As you still have plenty of time to get out to the polls, we want to see a great number of votes being cast in the Muskogee Creek elections. Lots of excitement out there to see who some of our National Council members are going to be coming out of this election. And certainly the citizenry never been more informed than this year with our first establishment of ourselves as Muskogee Media into the coverage of the elections with the candidate profiles, questions being asked, things like that, real issues. And it's wonderful to see these candidates be able to speak to some of these things. So we want to see a big number of people out there joining us on the live stream later tonight, 6:30 p.m. I think I said 5:30 earlier, but 6:30. I think I just meant, mountain time, I think is what I was wanting to tell you. I'm on mountain time still. I just got back from LA, so I'm out west still a little bit. But 6:30 p.m. is when the live stream will start. You'll see Kevin Barnett, some of our other great people at Muskogee Media. And Kevin also will be giving away these T-shirts. Help me, Vanna White here, these T-shirts. We'll be giving away some of these later on during the live stream. So if you want one of those, a little Muskogee Media there on the back representing, and pretty cool logo there. And designed by Mr. Mark Hill, our very talented graphic designer. Mark Hill helped design those. So, Kevin Barnett, I want to thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
You bet, man. It's been great. You guys go out and vote. We'll have all of that great election coverage for you next week.